My name is Nguyen. I grew up in Vietnam and I moved here when I was 9. And my story begins with I'm a social work student at the University of Washington. And growing up, I grew up in a family of I grew up in Buddhism, and my mom's philosophy is to foster family direct relationships and caring for each other. And so as a first generation immigrants, I came here and I realized how that value is not common here, seeing how families are disconnected and each person very individualistic, and they're very focused on their own self-achievement, that they no longer interact with their own family members and friends. And I feel like that is a really crucial element in terms of fostering a really intergenerational relationship between grandchildren and their grandparents. And especially now with elders are being put away in senior homes and not talked about and kept in isolation, and children away from their grandparents and not being able to gain the skills from the previous generation or learn stories that they can grow from. It's really unfortunate that what I grew up is not being valued here. And it's important to environmental justice because grandparents or elder generation has so much skills to share in terms of food cultivation. For example, with my grandparents, I grew up being farmers, and my parents make their own soap as a living, and not being able to obtain those skills, pass it down to your grandchildren, is really unfortunate, because if you don't learn it from them, those skills is going to be lost forever. And so it's important for the intergenerational family, for grandparents, or even just elder interaction with children in the community, to promote like a community garden, to promote green space, and so we can sustain our living environment that we're living now. The relationship that elders have to share, because their experience growing up in a very different society, different environment, and the way that they cultivate food, that in terms of like who grows their own plants anymore, like who's able to make bread at home, like those kind of skills are slowly lost. They're no longer being passed down. Like people are buying bread at the store instead of learning how to like knead your own dough. And I think that's so valuable, especially when corporation has so much power in terms of the things that we consumer are buying. We have to take the control of that. We have to be able to pick out what ingredients is healthy, how do we grow our own food, so then no pesticides can get into food, so we can have more control. And it's so important because we need more green spaces to allow that, because there's not enough community gardens, there's not enough green spaces in this Pacific Northwest. And I feel like that is something that I wish to either foster or promote within like intergenerational, within elder parents and grandchildren, or all different generations coming together to help foster this mentality, this value. For the Seattle Globalists, my name is Nguyen.